West Memphis, Arkansas, May 5, 1993. A day that began like any other, but ended shrouded in fear and sorrow. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the town. Worried parents called their children home for dinner, but three little boys never arrived. Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers vanished without a trace. The disappearance of the three 8-year-old boys sent shockwaves through the community. Their faces, frozen in time on missing posters, became a haunting reminder of the unthinkable. As hours turned into days, hope dwindled, replaced by a gnawing dread. The town held its breath, united in grief and desperation. Then, on May 7th, the unthinkable was confirmed. The boys' bodies were discovered. They were found in a muddy creek in a wooded area known as Robin Hood Hills. The news ripped through West Memphis like a storm, leaving behind a trail of raw grief and simmering anger. The scene at Robin Hood Hills was chilling. The boys, their small bodies battered and bound, lay amidst the trees and murky water. The innocence of their childhood, brutally stolen. The details, too graphic to fully comprehend, painted a picture of unimaginable violence. Investigators descended upon the scene, their faces grim. The pressure to find the person or persons responsible was immense. Every fiber of the community demanded justice. But the investigation was like navigating a labyrinth in the dark. Leads were scarce, and the evidence was puzzling. Rumors and speculation filled the void. The community, desperate for answers, clung to every whisper. Who could commit such a horrific act? The question hung heavy in the air, a menacing cloud over West Memphis. The investigation continued, a race against time fueled by grief and a growing fear that a monster walked among them. Days turned into weeks. The investigation dragged on, each passing moment deepening the town's wounds. The pressure on the police mounted, and the whispers grew louder. Then the focus shifted to a group of teenagers known for their love of heavy metal music and dark clothing. Among them were Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jessie Misskelley Jr. Outsiders, often misunderstood, and easy targets in a town grappling with fear. They were different, their tastes considered strange and unsettling by some. The investigation zeroed in on these three young men. Damien, the alleged ringleader, known for his interest in the occult. Jason, quiet and withdrawn, often seen as Damien's follower. And Jessie, with a history of learning difficulties, seen by some as vulnerable and easily led. Their lives, on the brink of adulthood, were about to be irrevocably changed. The trial of the West Memphis Three, as they came to be known, began in 1994. The prosecution presented a case built on circumstantial evidence and fueled by the community's fear. They painted a picture of a ritualistic killing, driven by satanic influences and a thirst for the macabre. Damien, with his interest in witchcraft and the occult, became a focal point. The prosecution argued that he, along with Jason and Jessie, had lured the young boys to their deaths as part of a satanic ritual. The prosecution's case relied heavily on Jessie's confession, later recanted, which he claimed was coerced. The defense argued that the investigation was flawed, the evidence circumstantial, and that the prosecution was exploiting the community's fear of the unknown. They maintained that Damien, Jason, and Jessie were not cold-blooded killers, but rather convenient scapegoats in a town desperate for answers. The trial, a media spectacle, captivated the nation. The trial of the West Memphis Three divided the nation. On one side, there were those who believed the prosecution's case, convinced by the narrative of Satanic Panic and fueled by the horrific nature of the crime. On the other side, there were those who saw the flaws in the investigation, the lack of concrete evidence, and the reliance on stereotypes and fear. The courtroom became a battleground of emotions, with the weight of the tragedy hanging heavy in the air. The families of the victims, their grief palpable, deserved justice. But was it justice that was being served? In 1994, the verdicts were delivered. Damien Echols was sentenced to death. Jason Baldwin and Jessie Misskelley Jr. received life sentences. The town of West Memphis, and the nation, watched as 3 young men were condemned for a crime many believed they did not commit. The case, however, was far from over. Behind bars, years of doubt and determination, years turned into decades. Damien, Jason, and Jessie remained behind bars, their lives forever altered by the events of 1993. But the fight for their freedom continued. Support for the West Memphis Three grew, fueled by documentaries, books, and the unwavering belief of their families and supporters that a terrible miscarriage of justice had occurred. Celebrities and activists joined the cause, lending their voices to the growing chorus demanding a new investigation. New evidence emerged, casting further doubt on the original investigation and trial. The focus shifted from Satanic Panic to the possibility of a botched investigation and the very real potential that 3 innocent men were paying the price. Inside prison walls, Damien, Jason, and Jessie held on to hope. They pursued appeals, fought for access to new DNA testing, and clung to the belief that one day, the truth would prevail. Their story, a chilling reminder of the fallibility of the justice system, resonated with people around the world. The DNA riddle, unraveling the truth. In 2007, a glimmer of hope emerged. New DNA evidence, not available at the time of the original trial, was finally tested. The results were startling. None of the DNA found at the crime scene matched Damien, Jason, or Jessie. The very foundation of the prosecution's case began to crumble. The new evidence sent shockwaves through the justice system and reignited the debate about the West Memphis Three. Calls for their release intensified, and the legal battle raged on. The prosecution, while acknowledging the new DNA evidence, maintained that they still believed in the guilt of the 3 men. The case took another turn in 2010 when the Arkansas Supreme Court ruled that the new DNA evidence warranted a hearing to consider overturning the convictions. The possibility of freedom, once a distant dream, now felt tantalizingly close. The world watched and waited as the legal system grappled with the weight of its own potential mistakes. An imperfect freedom, the Alford plea. In a stunning turn of events, Damien, Jason, and Jessie were offered a deal. They could walk free, but only if they agreed to an Alford plea. This meant they would maintain their innocence while acknowledging that the prosecution had enough evidence to convict them. It was a controversial decision, one that sparked outrage and ignited debate. For some, it was a bitter pill to swallow, a compromise that left a stain of guilt on 3 innocent men. For others, it was a long-awaited victory, a chance for Damien, Jason, and Jessie to finally reclaim their lives. On August 19, 2011, after nearly 2 decades behind bars, Damien, Jason, and Jessie walked out of the courtroom as free men. It was a bittersweet victory, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, but also a stark reminder of the complexities of the justice system. Shadows of injustice, a case never closed. The release of the West Memphis Three did not end the story. While they were free, they were forever marked by the case. The question of who really killed Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers remained unanswered. The case continues to haunt the town of West Memphis and captivates the nation. Books, documentaries, and countless articles continue to dissect the evidence, searching for the truth. Damien, Jason, and Jessie have tried to rebuild their lives, but the shadow of their ordeal follows them. The case of the West Memphis Three serves as a chilling reminder of the fallibility of the justice system and the devastating consequences of prejudice and fear. It is a story of tragedy, resilience, and the enduring power of hope. It is a case that, despite the release of 3 men, remains shrouded in mystery and leaves us grappling with the question, what is justice, and has it truly been served?